Hi, I'm Chris Nedza, lead entrepreneur in residence of the Advanced Technology Development Center at Georgia Tech. We're the state of Georgia's technology incubator. Welcome to Season 1 of the ATDC podcast, Executive Bytes. We focus on the startup founders in our portfolio, what sparked them to launch their companies, the market problem they solved, and even how they overcame the thoughts of quitting when times get rough. Enjoy. Welcome to this episode of Executive Bytes at ATDC, and today I have my buddy Robert Burke from Sobo AI. Robert, welcome. How you doing?
Thank you, Chris. I'm doing well, man.
I'm super excited to talk to you because I first started learning about what you were going to do with Sobo. Gosh, it probably was 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And I know you've been on this journey, so I am excited to talk to you about it, and we're gonna have a good time today. But let me start this off by a question for our audience. Give me the aha moment. Well, first of all, give me a quick little backdrop about what Sobo AI is providing now, and then I've got a bunch of questions we're gonna have fun with.
Great. So Sobo is it's a fractional expert marketplace for small businesses. And what it provides essentially is insights and experts that help small business owners execute their vision, grow and scale their company with putting the right people in place, as they need.
So Robert, let me make sure I understand this. So what I understood your company to do was you've got all these small businesses, basically small business mid-market company. That's your market. Mm-hmm. And they might need a fractional accountant or a fractional salesperson or a fractional marketing person, correct? So you essentially have this marketplace where a company, a small business or a mid-market company can go online, go onto Sobo's platform and identify a source, but that source has also gained access to certain data because you've done data integrations to things like the CRM and the accounting systems and ERP applications. Did I get that right?
That's right. So our hypothesis before I started any of this startup stuff was that small business owners, they need help, okay?
Yep.
And they have problems. So they have problems, they need help. The second part of that was they don't necessarily know what their problems are. So most of the time, actually, at least the majority of the time, they have an idea of what their problem is, but they don't really know what their problem is. They need affirmation. They need confirmation. And so the insights are what give them that confirmation. They provide them with basically performance or data-driven insights generated by AI that can unpack exactly what those challenges that they are facing, what's keeping them up at night, and then matching them to experts on the platform that can solve for those challenges.
Okay. How do they get the insights?
They get the insight. Yeah. So there's two ways you can get an insight. You can request an insight. You can ask the system a question like, "Hey, Sobo, why is my cash flow inconsistent?" Or, "Why am I having problems with retention?" That's one way to get insights. The second way is just push insights. So insights that are just generated by the system because it's looking at all your information and it's telling you what's going wrong with your business.
Have
in a sense, yeah.
Have you built these web hooks to go into their different data systems to pull the data out?
We've built the API integrations to integrate with their tech stack. So we started with QuickBooks Online. We launched that late 23, just proof of concept. And there's the journey's been real, man. There's a lot that's happened in the last 2 years, obviously, but at the end of the day, what we will have is a very sophisticated AI system that will be generating insights across every single aspect or facet of their company.
Okay, I got it. So I thought it was really ingenious to be able to do these, get this data and then get the insights and then tie them into a trusted resource that knows that an expert, a subject matter expert, somebody with
That's right, because the business owner doesn't necessarily know what their problems are, so we're giving them confirmation on that. And then the second thing is they don't really know how to find these experts or these consultants, how to source them, how to vet them, how to integrate them with their company. We take all the friction out of that. That's what AI is really good for. It's good for analysis. It's good for vetting. It's good for these things that frankly, human beings were really not that good at, right? There's a lot of data points that you have to look at in an interview process. So take advantage of what we can to increase the number of engagements for small businesses and experts, because without those engagements, small business will cease to exist.
So who pays for this? Does the small business pay for the service, or does the expert pay for the service?
Both sides of the marketplace pay for the service in different ways. So the
Okay.
small business pays for the insights and access to the experts. Okay. They pay a low monthly subscription for that. And then the consultant pays for every active engagement that we secure for them for the entirety of the engagement.
I love it. And I would say, I mean, I hope that this goes like massive, because imagine the benchmarking and the kind of data analytics that could come from this, like, would be fantastic. So, hey, what
Absolutely.
was that? Was there an aha moment that got you this idea for Sobo, or like, or just sitting around going, I think I'm going to create this, or like, was there an aha moment?
Yeah, it was like 15 years ago. I started a IT business called Core 12, and I realized that IT is just a foot in the door. It's a foot inside the door. And then you see all the problems that these companies are facing that have, frankly, nothing to do with IT. Very little. Yeah, they have some technical debt. We can clean that up. But if things aren't working inside of a company consistently, like, you know, that there's definitely something else going on. And there's, in most cases, a lot of things going wrong. And so I was like the psychologist for the
Yeah.
business owner, the therapist, listening to their problems and, over time, just learning that, I can help the business owner solve for HR issues or for operations issues and go outside of my comfort zone in IT. Yeah.
Have you seen your product help a company? And if you have,
Yes.
I want to know about that first. Like, I remember my last technology company, the first time I saw it actually working and helping someone. I'll never forget the day and the time, what I was doing, where I was at. Have you got one of those?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. So we started working with a engineering firm, local engineering firm, about 8 months ago. And they were having challenges because they had a new ownership come in and a younger guy, millennial, is ambitious, ready to grow the business, and but just didn't have the right financial pieces in place. Didn't have the right, the finance guy, if you will, someone to speak forward, not just backwards on the books. And he wanted to have multiple entities, so it was getting like really, he's a really ambitious guy, and he wanted to execute, but he didn't have the people internally to execute that vision. So he matched with a fractional CFO on the marketplace on Sobo, and he started out with like a monthly engagement, and it most recently switched to a what we're calling dedicated expert. So he has more of an exclusive arrangement with that expert. He's increasing his use of the expert and the engagement, and he loves to get insights from the platform. So we're really seeing changes already because he's already started an architecture firm in his company since we gave him access to that
I'm
expert.
laughing a little bit because you said a young guy, a millennial, and I'm going like, those people are getting in their 40s. They're
Yeah,
not.
they're getting there for. Yeah, I'm one of those. I'm one of those 40-year-old millennials, and
You know,
but we're still young. We're still, as
no,
for
I'm young.
to operate a business. You're young. You're very young, but to run a 30-person, 40-person firm with five years of experience, maybe 10 years of experience in the industry, you have a lot of lessons to learn. And so getting access to experts on demand without having to worry about drama or vetting these people, they can just jump in and like ninjas just slice and dice and execute vision. That's what we
Right.
want to see. Yeah.
So, all right, I want to switch gears just a little bit. I want to talk about this little founder journey because, you came up with this idea, or sort of struck you 15 years ago. Um, People 5 years ago couldn't even spell AI. Um, because nobody knew what it was. Like, was there a moment, a mistake that you're like, oh my gosh, this turned out to be the biggest blessing of learning or something like that?
Yeah. So like in the IT business, 2017, um, I remember rolling out a solution for our IT clients that could do automated patching and scripted remediation of issues, like problems on the computer can't print. And in the past, they would call and say, "Hey, my computer can't print. Can you help me out?" And you'd remote in and you'd recycle the print spooler or whatever and
Right.
fix it. Well, the computer could do that now, and it could automatically fix it. And not only could it fix it, it could also log time and ticket notes to the system. Hey, I did this, this, and this for this issue and resolved it this way. So that was my first kind of like, aha, this automated support is actually some sort of like AI agent, right? Super early stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
Um, all right. So how does Sobo differ from your typical knowledge management platform? Like,
Yeah.
what's the big differentiator?
Yeah. So the big differentiator versus like other marketplaces where people can go and find consultants or experts to help them out, the majority of marketplaces that operate in our space, they have two things. They have two things or features that we don't have, um, that would not work for small business. The first is that they function like digital directories, where you can go in and you can pick your marketing people, which is great for enterprise because if you're a Deloitte or you're like Coca-Cola and you want to fill out a project with a bunch of marketing experts, you go in and you pick, whoever you want to add to your bucket for your project. That's great. That would not work for small business. They don't want digital directories. It introduces friction in the process where they have to go pick a consultant, and then they're putting the onus on them to click the right person. Just make sure you click that right person. Don't click here, click here. If
Right.
you click
Right.
that guy, you might not get a good experience. So we leverage the AI to match them to the best fit for them, and then they'll have a kickoff meeting to seal the deal, to seal the marriage on the engagement. So
Yeah.
that's the one big feature that we do not operate like a digital directory. Yeah.
So, is there a surprise about how people use your platform that you've learned? Like, I've seen this, right? It's like, wow, I didn't realize somebody does this, or I can't believe they're doing that. You got anything like that in your bag of
No,
tricks?
I not now, but I can anticipate that definitely will happen as we get further down the road. I can absolutely see that people will be using the insights in very interesting ways, like, hey, what could I, get my wife for her birthday? That sort of thing. You
Uh,
know,
uh,
like just
Let me know when that feature's available.
yeah.
I could probably use it. So. All right, I want to talk a little bit on a personal side on this stuff. Um, Not really too personal, but um, have you ever felt like just quitting? And then
Yes.
if not, what kept you going?
Yeah. As a business owner, if you start a business and you tell me that you've never thought of quitting, like I'm not going to believe anything else you say after that because
It's
running a
hard.
business, I mean, it's so hard. You have to be conditioned for it. It is not for everyone. And what do they say? 90% of businesses fail within 2 years or whatever. It's not because of lack of capital. It's just because they just couldn't get through the other side. You just have to be conditioned to stick into it no matter what. Like the first 5 or 10 years of starting a business, you're buying yourself a low paying job. That's it. Yeah, yeah,
Where you can work, you can do
yeah.
whatever you want to do, and you can work
That's
half
right.
days. You just pick which half, right?
That's right. Exactly. Exactly.
So how do you get, like you say, you got to condition yourself? How in the world? I mean, it's not like go run and do push-ups all day long, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
naked and afraid, learn how to get bit by bugs. But how do you do
Well,
that? Like, what's that look like for you?
well, for me, the way I did it was not by choice. My father had a janitorial business, and he would wake me up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to, clean toilets and mop floors. Whatever task he didn't want to do, that's what I was doing. I was doing that.
I didn't
So
know that, man. I
yeah,
know you, and I didn't even know that. You know,
yeah.
my dad had a janitorial service business.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
man.
Wow. That's
I've been a
cool.
professional window cleaner.
Okay, so it's a hard road, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a hard road.
So, but that sort of conditioned you to grind.
Yeah, to grind and push through it because, he would say things like, yeah, if I missed a spot or whatever, hey son, you can't like half-ass a job. You gotta do it all the way, It was that sort of thing. So it just
So,
kind of conditioned me young to operate like that.
but those moments where you're like, man, I gotta quit. I want to quit. You just what's your go-to to get out of it? That because you know you can't, right?
Yeah, I can't. I mean, what am I gonna do? Go take a corporate job and get fired in 6 months? Like, because I'm pushing too many buttons or I'm telling people they don't know what they're doing. It's just not, it wouldn't work. So I would like logically think, well, I'm already in it. I mean, I'd have to see it through. And, you know, so just kind of, or, or,
How
or you can fake like when I was in MBA classes at Georgia State. It was the first, couple of years after I started my IT business. I was taking night courses and, I was in like corporate finance and I didn't wasn't really big into corporate finance and I was like, "Oh God, I got to take this class." And but I started, telling myself, "Hey, I love corporate finance." Just tricking your brain. "Oh, I love it. It's great." Yeah, let me go get that fancy calculator that can do amortization schedules. Yeah, yeah, I love it. And
yeah.
then like, a few months into it, I'm like A plus in the class, because I've kind of tricked myself. But yeah, just tell yourself you love it. It's an attitude thing. It's a mindset for
I
sure.
do think you're right. Half of making it is not quitting. In fact, I think it's more than half, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. I love that, you know. So you've had an IT business, now you've got Sobo. Like, where do you see
Yeah.
yourself in 5 years?
Where I see myself in 5 years is that flywheel at Sobo is taking off. I'm going to raise like, Series A, and I'm fully engaged into Sobo, and I found a solid, operator to steward the Core 12 business.
Interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. How important is it to have your spouse or your significant other um, in on your team? I mean, I think a lot of people take it for granted that it's not just you that's taking a hit in the low paying job. Like,
Yeah, it's
any
tough.
advice you'd give somebody
Uh,
that's just thinking about, jumping into the game? Because it's great.
Yeah, definitely pick your spouse wisely. Yeah, for sure. Because if they're not in it, if they're not willing to like take that low paying job for 5 or 10 years, with the promise of maybe getting to a good place in 10 years, it's gonna be tough. And even if they are invested, there's still like emotions. Emotions come out, and you have to know how to manage that and work together as a team to manage those emotions, right?
Because even though they're not in the business necessarily, I know a lot of husband wife teams, do work together, or significant others work together. But even though they're not working, they're still impacted by your work.
That's right. So one piece of advice is
All right.
when you're going on your weekly date or whatever, do not start the conversation off with what you did at work that day. Like, do not like table that for some other time. Yeah.
How do you turn the phone off, or do you when you walk in the door? And I think you have kids too, right?
Yeah, we just had our third on May the 2nd. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
Woo!
I have some catching up to do, man. You set a high bar. So,
Yeah, I know.
um
So when you meet a person who doesn't have kids, when they say I'm tired, they really don't know what the heck they're talking about. You have
no,
three.
no, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You got to go through that 1 or 2 month torture chamber where they're waking up every hour. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Any advice you'd give an entrepreneur before they start their business?
Yeah, yeah. That's the first thing I tell someone that I'm mentoring and they want to start a business. Hey, just know that the first 10 years, you're gonna buy yourself a low paying job. You're gonna make a fraction of what your peers are making. It's gonna be very hard. The buck's gonna stop with you. And so are you willing to do that? Like, are you willing to do that?
Yeah, but don't you think you read all the headlines of the small garage IT group that gets puts together 6 people and gets
Yeah.
by Meta for 6 billion in three
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you hear these
Yeah.
stories all the time, and they do
You
happen.
hear that they happen, but there's always like some unexplained reason why they happen, and it
Yeah,
usually has to do with like someone has really good connections. Like it just doesn't happen like randomly like that. There's always like the somewhat, yeah, it's like HP took off from some kid, no, that kid was like next door neighbors with, whoever, right?
yeah, yeah.
So,
Can you build so speaking of that, do you think you can build a scalable, unicorn without having to go to the valley?
um,
Well, that's a good question, man.
that's a really good question. Um,
I mean, I
I
think the answer is absolutely because we
hmm,
have unicorns that come out of our region, but
okay.
it, it
It's
but
it's
the
it's a
length
lot
of
harder. It's a lot harder.
yeah.
It's a lot harder. Yeah,
Why do
for
you think
sure.
that is? Yeah, I kind of agree with that, by the way.
Yeah. So I didn't notice I didn't say no that you had to, but it's just really tough. Um, so I think the reason why I think that is because there's just less of a concentration of wealth. The attitude around like, money here in the South in general has been just more real estate focused, stable, um, old conservative family money, financially conservative family money.
Yeah, yeah.
And and that is slowly changing, and there are more VCs here, but they're not willing to take as big of a risk as firms in the Valley are, or
You know,
even in New York.
one of our guests, or
Like
one
they
of our
want a million ARR before they give you a $200,000 check. It's like,
yeah,
are you
yeah, one
serious?
of
How are
our
you going to get to that million? How are you going to get to that million without that $200,000 check? Yeah,
I think I touched a nerve, man. Awesome. One of our guests that are listening on the live streaming, I noticed, is our investor relations person for ATDC, Caroline Ford. And I wish she were actually on while I answer this question. I'm gonna have to get her on as a guest because
absolutely. Yeah,
she knows the investor community in a big way. Um, and I'd really be curious about what her thoughts are on it. But I do think things are changing.
yes,
I think people
yes,
in Atlanta, investors, and you know why? They have to.
yeah. That's
You
right.
know, I don't know if you know this, but the largest economy in the world is the United States. Number two is China. The
Yeah.
third largest economy in the world is the Southeast United States,
Wow.
right?
Yeah,
That's shocking.
yeah. That's
So,
crazy.
I mean, this is where it's happening in a big way. But yeah, we'll see what goes on. But Robert, hey, thank you for being my guest today, man. I am wearing Team Sobo all day long jersey,
Thank you,
and
brother.
I'm
Yeah.
pulling for you. I love what you do. I love your passion. You're smart. You're working. You're energetic. You're curious minded. I love that about you. And man, I'm just so fired up about what you've got going on with Sobo. So thank you for being my guest today, and let's catch up some more.
That sounds good. Yeah, thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
We'll do it again,
Enjoyed
man.
it. All right, man.
See ya.
See you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the ATDC podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, and share or connect wherever you get your podcasts. Please be sure to follow us on social media. Our handle is @ATDC on X, LinkedIn, and Instagram.